One view that is still missing from SwiftUI is an infinite progress bar. Now, today we are going to learn how to build out this really nice infinite progress bar. Take a look at these customizations. They are really awesome. So if you like to learn how to build this out, go ahead and open up Xcode, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive in. Infinite progress bars are so cool, but before we dive into the details, let me just remind you about Dev Factory. It is at rebeloper.com/mentoring. If you want to meet me on a one-on-one Zoom call, 60 minutes of debugging, SwiftUI learning, whatever you'd like, go ahead and check it out, rebeloper.com/mentoring. Now, with that out of the way, let me just show you what we are going to build out. So this is, first of all, the infinite progress bar should be hidden. So when I tap on show, we have quite a lot here going on. As you can see, we have a lot of customization options. And basically this is what we are going to build out today. And we are going to do it in a modular way. So all of this will be possible with just a few lines of code in your project. So go ahead and open up an Xcode project. Make sure it's iOS 15 because that's what this requires. And currently I'm on beta, but it doesn't really matter. It should be Xcode 13. Okay, so first thing, we are going to create a new view, and I will call this the infinite progress bar. So let's create a new file here, and the Swift file, okay, and then infinite progress bar. Okay, so this needs to be, I will just make some room here. So this needs to be a SwiftUI view. So let's import SwiftUI here. And then let's create a view that will be a struct. And it's called infinite progress bar of type view. And the view needs to adhere to the body element, so I'm just adding it real quick here. And I do know that we are going to use a geometry reader, so let me just add the geometry reader first in, and let's just have our proxy in there. Let's see if this is actually going to fix the errors. Yes, so we are basically done with creating our view. Now it's time to add in all the properties that the progress bar will use to build out those nice progress bars. So first of all, let's have an animation phase. And that will be a state variable because as you saw, let me just show that again, it's just kind of having the kind of foreground view offset from left to right. So that animation phase is either offset minus or plus. So let's add that first. So this will be a private state variable, and I'm just going to call this animation phase. Okay, and let's just set this to true. This moment. So we are going to switch from true to false, so we know which offset to have. Next up, we want to know, is this active or not? So should we show it or not? Basically, I'm just always calling this is active. So that has to be accessed throughout the other view. So we are going to bind that variable. So at binding var, and let's make this private. I'm going to set all of these to private because we are going to create a custom initializer for this. So is active of type bool. Okay, next up is the bar width percentage. If we take a look at that again, so you see there we have a percentage of the whole width of the bar for the foreground moving element. So that could be a percentage of the whole width of the bar. So private var here. And I'm just going to name that bar width percentage. And again, a private variable, bar width percentage, and let's have that as a CG float. Okay, Next up is the offset percentage. You see, we are actually moving the foreground that view, the view that is in the foreground, we are moving it with an offset left to right. So let's have that offset percentage also set up. So again, I will just copy this out and paste it again and rename it to offset with percentage. Okay, next up, some colors. So let's have a foreground color of type color, and let's have a background color. So the foreground color is actually the color that is moving. The background color is the bar's color. Okay, background color. And then we want to set also the animation duration, so how fast it's oscillating between those two offset. So again, a private var and animation duration of type double. Now I do know that this needs to be a double because on the animation view modifier, the duration is a double. Now, real quickly, let's create our initializer with all of these properties. So first of all, init, let's just have that right over there. And now I'm just going to copy out a lot of stuff. So I'm going to have underscore is active bool, but this needs to be a binding. So it's not going to be a bool, it's going to be a binding of type bool. Okay, next up, we want to have a bar with percentage. I'll just paste it in there, and I'm going to set some default values here that I really think that they are nice as a default value, but of course they can be changed on the initializer. So 0.5 for that. Next up is the offset with the okay, offset with percentage. Okay, let's set this to 0.8. Next up, foreground color. Let's have this as blue, and then the background color, or let's set this to primary. Primary is the actual primary, or rather not primary, but the accent color. Now the accent color is, if it's not set up, that's the default accent color that is blue by default on the system, or you could just set it up right here on the assets on the accent color. Really nice to have. So yeah, that's why I would really appreciate that the foreground color would be accent color. And then for the background color, let's have some gray with an opacity. So opacity and 0.5. Okay, and finally the animation duration of type double, and then pasting it in there, and let's have here 1 second. Okay, I really like to move these parentheses all the way up, and now it's time to associate these initialized values to the properties. So self, and for the binding we need to have underscore is active equals is active, bar with percentage, self.bar with percentage equals bar with percentage, offset, and we want to go through all of them. Foreground color. And once we do, then that error will definitely go away, finally, because we had that there quite a while now. There we go. Now we should be ready. So that's our initializer. It's time to take care of the body. Now the most kind of interesting part, this is just all set up. Now, what do we want to do? Well, let's just take a look at the example. Let's take a look at this really large one. So we have kind of the gray, the light gray background, and then on top of it we have a darker gray, what the element that is moving. So it's obvious we are going to use a Z-stack here. So let's start off with the Z-stack, and we're going to use rectangles. So a rectangle, and the first element on the Z-stack, like on top, is actually the one that's on the background. So we are going to have the background color used here for the rectangle, but the rectangle will have a foreground color of that background. So foreground color, and then that is our initialized, like inputted property background color. Okay, that takes care of the whole bar, like the background color. Now let's add another rectangle, and now the foreground color will be our foreground color. That's nice. And we want to set a width here. Now the width is actually according to the geometry. So let's just have here a frame with a width. So I will just remove all of this, and then let's just start typing the width out. Now we want to use the bar width percentage right over here. So we're going to actually use the proxy from the geometry reader. The proxy has a size, not self, but size right over there, and the width. So this is the whole width of our bar. So we want to multiply that with the bar width percentage. So in this case, we actually have a smaller bar width percentage. In our case, it's 0.5, so half of it. Okay, that's nice. So if we just build and run this, well, yeah, we didn't add that to the content view. We will do that in just a second. Let's just move on. It's straightforward what we could see here. So next up is the offset. Now the offset is a little bit tricky because offset, and we want to use the X offset, of course, and the X axis. And here we want to switch the offset according to the animation phase. So we are going to use a ternary operator here. So animation offset, animation phase, sorry, question mark. And we're also going to use the proxy again, minus proxy. So if this is set to true, it's minus proxy size dot width multiplied by offset, offset percentage. Otherwise, we're going to use the same thing, but now without the minus there. Okay, I think that's fine. So finally, we want to clip it. So we are going to use clip because, yeah, the foreground rectangle is going to move here and there. So we want to clip that according to our background rectangle. And yeah, basically that's it. Finally, we want to animate all of this. And we can do that on Appear. Let me just move this up so we can see it better. So we are going to use, actually what we actually need here is animation face dot toggle. Okay, so when this appears, it will just toggle it from true to false or false to true. It doesn't really matter. So true to false. Okay, so true to false. But this needs to be a repetitive. So, and it needs to repeat forever. So we are going to use an animation. So with animation, and let's just choose the one with the animation and the body. Okay, the animation will be dot ease in and out with the duration. Let's just choose this one with the ease in out duration, and then we just can add this animation duration here. As you can see, it was a double, as I told you. And right over here, we are going to use that animation phase.toggle. But this ease in and out needs to be repeated. So what we're going to do is add also here repeat forever and auto reverses set to true. So it would just go all the way up and then again back and forth forever actually. Okay, now this is fine, but what happens if I want to hide the actual bar? Well, we can just use an opacity right over here. So opacity, and if is active, question mark, then this should be 1, otherwise the opacity should be 0. And basically that's it. That's the whole progress, infinite progress bar that we have set up. Now it's time to just test it out. Let's have some fun here. So on the content view, let's just have a VStack, and yeah, let's just add in here the basic one. So infinite progress bar, and is active, so we want to add a private state variable here. So private state variable is active, and that is false by default. So if this is active, we want to add it in there. And yeah, let's just see what happens if we just add this right now. So let's just choose iPhone 12 Pro. That should be fine. Let's wait for this. Let's see how all of this looks now. You will have some surprises at this moment because, yeah, I do know what to expect. But we will tweak this so we will get the desired effect. So because this is active is set to false, we will not see anything at the moment. So let's change that. Let's add a button right over here with an action, and the label would be some text. And according to the is active, we want to show if this is active is true, then we want to hide it, and otherwise we want to show it. And the actual action is active is toggled. Okay, let's build and run again, and let's see how that looks like. Okay, so we want to show, and yeah, this is what it is. It's not what we expected, but let's just go ahead and kind of tweak this better. So what we want to have here, first let's just have a frame, and let's just set a height for it. So height, let's just have 4, and alignment, we don't really care about that. So let's build and run again. And let's see how that looks like if I tap on show. There are some issues here. Let me just take a look at the actual bar. Maybe we just missed something here. Yes, as you can see, we are only clipping this rectangle. So what we want to do actually is clip the Z stack. So right over here, let's just copy that clipped out. And yeah, we can just move that to before the opacity. So let's do that again. Show. Now it's actually what we wanted. Okay, now this is promising. Let's add some more. So let's go back to the content view, and let's define some other infinite progress bars. So this is kind of the default one. We don't have any padding. So let's have a little bit more of those optional, like default values. So again, infinite progress bar. And now I'm going to use the one that is the longer one. So let's just bind it first. So is active. Bar width percentage. Let's go to 0.3 now. Offset with percentage 0.6. Foreground color, maybe let's just use some yellow here. Background color dot gray. And animation duration, let's just make it really slow, like 4. Again, we want to set a frame for it. So the frame height would be something like, well, let's just make it 40. Okay, so that would be our second one. Let's see how this actually looks like. If I tap on show, you can see it's really nice. And yeah, just with all of these modifiers. Now, this doesn't look really, really nice, but let's just create a new one here with, again, infinite progress bar, $ is active, then a foreground color of dot red maybe, and an animation duration of 3. As you can see, when I'm typing that out, it has this nice also suggestion. So I can just have a frame of width of 4. That's fine by me in this case. And now I want to have a clip shape of capsule. This should look nice. And then let's have some padding. So we can have it padded from the top and all the sides. So let me just tap on show here. I believe, oh, we set this to width. It should be height. Okay, let's build and run again. Command R. Let's just show this, and Really, really nice. So what do you think about that? Now we have a capsule. Next up, I want to show you something even better. So let's just have an infinite progress bar again. So infinite progress bar, again, dollar is active. And now let's just have a foreground color of dot green maybe. And yeah, let's have an animation duration of 2. So this would be a little bit faster. Again, frame height of 40. Okay, and then let's have again a clip shape of capsule. But this time around, we will actually see a little bit better our padding. Now, the background color will be used as the default background color of that 50% gray. So let me just show you this. This is what we just built out with the green one. So it's really, really nice. Of course, you can customize this even furthermore. And this is my last example here. So infinite, oh, there we go. Infinite progress bar. And let's have is active, dollar is active, and right over here let's have a foreground color of gray, and let's just use the default background color again, and animation duration let's have 0.5 maybe, and this time around let's have a really nice frame, like a huge height for the frame, because I want to show you that we can also add a rounded rectangle as the clip shape. So dot clip shape and rounded rectangle, and I'm going to use the one with the corner radius and style. So corner radius maybe 15, and for the style we might have circular, so it's going to be circular, and continuous. Think of the continuous corner radius as the ones that are on app icons. So it's not circular, it's kind of continuous. Okay, and basically that's it. Let's add a padding here so we can see it better, and let's see how that looks like. Let's just tap on show here. It's really, really nice. So as you can see, there are a lot of use cases and a lot of customizations for our infinite progress bar. Go ahead and check it out, add it into your app. And if you do like these kind of tutorials, also go ahead and check out Dev Factory. It's at rebeloper.com/mentoring, where you can meet with me on a one-on-one Zoom meeting. It's 60 minutes of whatever you'd like. Maybe you have a bug in your code. Maybe you want to learn SwiftUI. It's up to you. Go ahead and check it out. It's at rebeloper.com/mentoring. This missing infinite button has a lot of customizations, so go ahead and use them in your own code. Now, if you do like these type of tutorials, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. And while you are at it, make sure to hit that notification bell. I dare you, so you get notified of new videos. New videos like these ones. Go ahead and check them out. They are all about SwiftUI, Swift in general. And as usual, I will see you in the next one.